What's up, guys? Welcome back to the American Dream Podcast. I'm here with a very special guest, my boy Jacob Guidry.
What's up, brother?
What's up, brother? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, man.
I know we've known each other for maybe like 3-4 years now.
3-4 years now.
We met in Arizona. I know a lot of your story and your life and your success, specifically with the industry that you're in, which is really special. But for anyone that hasn't met you yet, how would you kind of sum up your life in terms of, your childhood, where you got to nowadays, stuff like that?
Oh man, that's a great question. How do you sum up a life of craziness and just absolute ridiculousness at most times, and then super awesome times and super bad times? Grew up in St. Martinville, Louisiana, in the swamp, and learned how to do all kind of fun stuff there. Went from there, played a little football at LSU, a little bit at McNeese, got picked up after the draft, kind of bounced around after that. Didn't ever play it down in the NFL, They used me as like a trading post. I was a deep snapper, so they're like, well, this guy needs a deep snapper, we need a receiver. So they traded me to Miami, and I went up to Buffalo, and then I made a young, dumb decision, and I got that ended. Worked in the oil field in Cleburne, Texas, up by Fort Worth. Had a great time up there, learned a lot of stuff, met a lot of people that I know to this day, and got to experience what being a number is in a business, right? So we came off a job one day, and 111 of us got fired in one day.
111 of you guys?
111 guys work for a certain big blue company, and they gave us all severance, and they closed down that yard, which had happened to a lot of people. It's nothing special. After that, I realized I needed to do something with my life, and I'd always had a calling to the military, joined the Army. Went in as an infantry guy, took a shot at SF and selection, broke a rib, got shipped up to Alaska, did my fun time up there, came back down, and then while I was up there, I got hurt real bad, busted my hip, right? Did that thing. They told me I wouldn't have use of my leg anymore because of nerve damage, all kind of stuff. Drove back here, started a tree service, and here I am.
How'd you get into the tree service industry?
So my dad was an arborist, or still is an arborist for my entire life, and I swore to God, as long as I'm alive, I do not want to be in this industry, because I watched him go through all these challenges, right?
Yep.
I wanted to have a regular job, be a regular guy, and everything that I did, nothing ended up being regular. It was always being pulled into something extra. You know what I mean? While I was in the military, I had little side jobs. I always had that extra little hustle to go and try and find something, make my life a little bit better, make my family's life a little bit better.
And then in terms of, I guess, the tree industry, where you could also call it demolition as well, correct?
Yeah.
How long have you been in there, and how did you start? Like, I know you said because of your dad, but in essence, when you started your own company, how was that?
So starting my own company was for two reasons. One was because I had a bigger vision, and I wanted it to be my vision. Big shoes to fill. So I got out from that shadow, and now I've overtaken it, basically. And then just trying to enjoy what the industry brings out of people, right? It's a great industry, and it's a bad industry all at once. Right, just like everything, roofing industry, anything you want to do, construction, stuff like that, the service industry is very tough. So we've brought out the good in people as best we can, and then trying to make our way through the day.
And I know from what we spoke about and from what I've heard, you've run one of the most successful tree industry companies per se, so congrats on that.
Thank you.
But for people that, they're looking to start up on somewhere, people think they have to like dream big, or like they have to invent the next iPhone. Something as simple as demolition can make so much money if you do it the right way. So I guess my question to you is, how did you perfect something in a very particular niche and make that just kind of blow up?
Well, look, everybody, I was that guy too. When you jump into something, what do you want to do? I want to do everything. What can I do to just make more money, right? And they taught us something in the military: is slow is smooth, smooth is fast, right? So one day I sat down and I was like, I'm going in 12 different directions. I'm trying to make money here doing this. I'm trying to do demo here. I'm trying to do trees here. I'm trying to do pressure washing here. I'm trying to do this, and this. And I realized all of this was making me a little bit of money, but I wasn't focusing on what I was good at, right? Sales is my specialty. This is what I do. I'm a good salesman in the tree world, and I'm a good leader, I feel, in the tree world as well. So I said, you know what, we're going to stop doing some of these ancillary things. I'm going to push them off to friends and help them grow as well, but I need to focus on my business, my industry, what I do the best. And that was really hard. That was one of those sit down in the morning, looking out of the backyard, come to Jesus meetings like, all right, dude, like, I don't think all this is going to work. What do we do? You know what I mean?
Help me out here.
As you're staring at a pile of bills going, okay, I got to make X amount to make the bills for this month. What do I do? What can make me the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time? And focusing on the tree road has really been that thing.
So as you were focusing, you're like, all right, obviously I need to donate down to one thing. I know my abilities. I know what I'm good at. Let's make it work. But in terms of the consistency of the business, was it always going good, or was it like, did you start the first year?
Man, no, every business has ups and downs. We started out, and it was one of those things where I started the company because my father had a previous company. I worked for him. I learned the industry from him, and everything that I know about the industry, I've learned from him, and then added on to all the things that were good, bad, or indifferent, right? So it hasn't always been great, right? When I started, it was like, this is going to be awesome. And then the first month was like, holy, last penny, we were stacking the penny, you know what I mean? Like, all right, paid all the bills. And then zeroed out every month for the first 6 months. It was just zero profit. But we paid all our bills. We had enough to live off of. I say zero profit. We had enough to live off of. We weren't buying anything extravagant or doing any kind of crazy stuff. So no, it hasn't been always great. And then in 2000 and let's see, when did Laura hit? 2020, right? In 2020, I met a gentleman, and he came in and sold me a bunch of snake oil, and my gullible self saw big numbers, and I had saved up $250,000. So from 2017 to 2020, 3 years, I saved up $250,000. Every little penny, everything that I could get a hold of, because I knew there was going to be a storm season that was going to come where it was going to be storm, right? So I saved that up. He came in and told us about this insurance billables, right? The roofers are doing this, man. The contractors are doing this. Why can't we as a tree industry do it? So he sold it, and we started going, and I financed the whole thing. I made a gullible young businessman decision to say, okay, with no contracts, handshake, right? Those days are rare. If I can look you in the eye, my word is gold. If I tell you I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. And if it costs me more money than what I'm expecting, well, that's my fault. I should have done my due diligence better. So we worked Hurricane Laura. On paper, we did a little over $2 million, right? We did not collect $2 million, right? So that year went, what, Laura, Delta, Sally, Zeta, and there was some other random one that came through. We worked every one of them. And I mean, I didn't miss a storm. Did not miss a storm. We worked everything that we could possibly do, and got taken for a lot of money. Got taken for a ride. And we got done with that year because Laura hit, I believe, in like September or something like that. By February, I had $5 to my name. Right? 2020, right? Which is when we met. I met at Laura.
We met at Lake Charles, actually.
In Lake Charles. And so at the end of that, it was just sitting there. Well, you know, I kept getting told, oh, this is going to get collected, or that'll be collected. And, you know, then a little bit of money would come in, and all of a sudden nothing. And then I got ghosted for months and months and months. And so, February, it was like I sat down, like, I can't remember the exact day, but I know it was on a weekend. And I sat down, I remember looking at my bank account and seeing $5 in there. I went from having $1 million, multi-million-dollar, company, to $5, right?
How did you deal with that mentally?
It was a slap in the face, right? And I got crazy depressed. Right, and I'll tell everybody, like I told you out there, I'm an open book. I've been through ups, downs, lefts, rights, and every angle in between. And I'm not perfect, and I'm not that guy that I would say has figured it all out. But I've been through some scenarios where if certain people are going through, depression and stuff like that, I've been there, right? I sat down and I'm sitting on my back porch and I'm thinking to myself, like, I have 5 kids, I got a wife, we just bought this house that was foreclosed, and we fixed it up. So I put 40 grand into that while we're doing all this hurricane work, right? And so it went through all those emotions, and then I got angry. And then the anger turned into to depression and sadness and all this other stuff. And I sat down and I told my wife, I don't know, what am I gonna do? Like, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? This lasted for about a week. I just got in the poor me's, right? And then I realized, like, I've been here. I've had nothing. We started out And every month it was zero.
Yeah.
Right? So I said, well, I know what to do. So I put my fucking boots on, excuse my language, and I went back to work, right? And we dug out of it, right? And the next year some storms hit, and I made some mistakes there, but we made some money. And then every month we just started putting more away. And, you know, we dug ourselves out of it. I have an amazing wife, an amazing family. I got a great team behind me, people on the side of me. I have some mentors in my life that I can go to say, hey, what do I do? Right? I didn't realize that at the time, because when I started the company, everybody disappeared, right? All the people that I thought were close to me really weren't. And people that came in and used me that I thought were great people, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So, which as a business owner, we tend to pride ourselves. You're a business owner, reading people, right? You want to think that this person is a trustworthy person. Turns out they're not, right? So it happens though. But no, it hasn't been all great. It's been ups and downs, but mostly great.
So whenever you were going through, I guess that phase where you were kind of sucked in, you're like, shit, I've lost all this money that I pretty much invested towards saving into something. And your wife, I know you mentioned your wife. How important was she at that time to kind of take you out of there?
My wife, dude,
because people don't realize how important a partner is sometimes.
I mean, a partner can make or break you.
I agree.
Really, right? They really can. They can make or break your mental state. They can make or break your financial state. They can make or break you, and it goes both ways, right? My wife is always I'm obsessed with this woman. Listen, I don't have any obsessions. I can take or leave anything. I love hunting, but if I don't hunt for the rest of my life, well, okay, right? But if I never got to see her again, I think that would be the end of my world, right? The most important person in my life is her, and my kids.
Was she with you from the beginning
From the beginning of starting Tree Guarding USA, she has been there, right? Nice. She's been there. We got married in 2017, January 7th, 2017 at 7 o'clock. And I got it tattooed on my arm just so I don't forget. So, yeah. But no, she was pivotal. I mean, she's the one that when I'm feeling in that poor me state, she's a hard ass, man. She will get up in my face and tell me, stop being a punk, stop being a little bitch, and let's go up. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
sometimes you need that person to kind of elevate you and pull you back up.
No, you do.
So when you were kind of going through that and then you were recovering, I know we spoke a little bit about you had a heart attack, correct?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So what happened there?
So the heart attack was, let's see, we're in 24, right? Yeah, 24.
Yeah, 2024, yeah.
So 2022, Hurricane Ian,
right?
We went over there, and beginning of 2022, I had something, we were at SVG and here in Dallas, in Dallas, right? And I had a little something happen with my chest and felt a little funny and passed out, right? And my wife is a registered nurse, so of course, what does she do? She checks on me, calls 911. The guys come up, they check my heart, and I had a regular arrhythmia or something like that. And they said, well, you know, we checked you out. They brought me in, checked me out. They said, well, you might have had a little mild heart attack, is what they say. I don't really remember. So that happened, changed a few things up, tried to eat better, do all this other stuff, and get back in the gym, and I did. And then we went to Hurricane Ian, and Ian was a phenomenal storm for us. But we worked, I worked 70 something days straight, probably 16, 17 hours a day, non-stop. Worked with a great company, ARS, and they really showed us some love. My guy Andy over there really showed us some love, and it blossomed, right? Towards the end of that, December 19th, the 18th was a buddy's birthday. I finally said, okay, I'll take a day off. We took a day off, went to his birthday, had some good food, went home early that night, my wife and I woke up that next morning, and I kind of felt weird. It was like 6 something in the morning. I remember looking, and I said, man, baby, my hand hurts, and my arm's feeling weird. And she goes, well, just get up and stretch, because maybe I slept on it. You know, when you lay 320 pounds on one arm, it doesn't exactly love it. So, and I've had that happen. We wake up and you kind of stretch a little bit, and so I stood up, and I remember I stretched like this, and it felt like somebody shot me, if I could imagine being shot. And it was real, man. It was real. It's the most pain I've ever felt in my life. And I've had 5 back surgeries, 3 hip surgeries. I've got a partially replaced hip. I've had nerve surgeries, which those are no fun. And this was unreal. Nothing can explain it. If you've never had it, please don't ever have one. But yeah, so I sat on the edge of the bed, and I remember being short of breath. And I looked at our office assistant, Missy, was there, and Carlos was sitting right there, and she had called 911. And I remember that. I remember I couldn't breathe. It was so hard to breathe, like there was a truck parked on top of my chest. And I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, and Missy, I remember Missy saying, boy, he's getting really pale. And I looked at Carlos and said, hey, just make sure our kids are okay. And I looked at Missy, I said, help her. And that's all I remember. I passed out, my heart stopped for a few minutes, and she came back in, got me back, and the ambulance got there, and they did their thing. Apparently gave me a few shots of nitro and some other crazy stuff. I remember waking up in the hospital and seeing her. You know what I mean? So that woman's in my life for a reason all the way.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So God had a different plan for me. I don't know what it is yet. I hope that I get to see it come to fruition. But I know that I get to see my kids, and I get to breathe on this earth a little bit and do the best I can at what I do. When
something like that, I guess, as life traumatizing happens to someone, does your whole perception kind of change?
Oh my God. It's the things that, listen, and again, I told you I'm not perfect. Things that used to like piss me off for days on end, I might get upset for an hour. And then I realize, I tell myself, like, hey, this shit won't be around for the next week, right? Somebody wants to act stupid, that's fine. I turn the other way. There's no more of that me going and forcing somebody to like me. I don't give a shit, excuse my language again, who likes me, who doesn't. If you're in my life and you're part of my circle, and there's people in my circle that know this, if you call me and you're in my circle and you need me, I'm there, period. I don't ask questions, I don't need to know, right? I'm just there, right? And I was just on Facebook the other day, I couldn't take it anymore. I've got so many people that owe me money, that have stolen from me, all this other stuff, and I finally got tired of it, and I try not to put it out on Facebook like that, but I needed to let all these people know, because I've got 2,000-3,000 friends, and people will come into our life just to use me, or use my wife, or use a situation, or borrow things and never give them back, or borrow money or whatever. And I just told everybody, like, if you're not part of it, then you're not going to be a part of it, right? And if you want to be a part of it, you have to earn your way in. There's no more of this free ride stuff. Right, and I would say that, and I was talking to a lot of the younger businessmen. You're a young businessman, right? Be cognizant that everyone out there has the ability to screw you over, right? They do. Everyone out there, from your mama down to anybody out there, they have the ability to stab you in the back. It's up to you to recognize whether or not that is a part of that day. But it's also up to you to allow those people to have that opportunity. Right?
Just finding that balance, really, it's kind of tricky.
Finding the balance, man. It is, and it's such an amazing thing. I listen to great speakers, man. I've really, since the heart attack, I've really, read my Bible every morning. That is the first thing I do before I even put my feet on the floor. Thank God that I get a chance to be on this earth some more and figure out what He needs from me and what He wants me to do. But also, I sit there and I think about, okay, what can I affect today? Because one of my prayers, and this is I guess it's a simple little prayer, but I ask God to remind me that my hands and my words and my feet, the actions that I do affect more people than just me, right? Whether I tell somebody hi, passing them going into the gas station, they might have needed that. That person might have been on their way to go and commit suicide, and one act of kindness saved them. That was a big reality for me when I came out of all this, But it's one of those things where you don't realize it until you realize it, right? Because I can tell you, man, this heart attack hurts, but if you ever have one, man, you know it hurts, right?
Yeah.
But also the same thing, and a good friend of mine that's in this industry has called something, it's a dumb tax, right? A lot of us have paid the dumb taxes, right? Not getting contracts signed correctly, not collecting in a certain period of time, trusting the wrong person, being in the wrong place. Right, so you pay all these dumb taxes, and after you look back and go, well, I don't need to do any of that anymore, but then there's still things to learn as we go, right? So I've humbled myself and realized that I don't know everything, and I know what I don't know. And there's people in this world that know what I don't know, and they can teach me. So now, before I make some big decisions, I have a team of people, a core group of people that I say that have nothing to gain financially from what I do. And I say, hey, look, I want to do this. right? And we talk it over because they're completely existential. They're outside of it. And they help me make the right decisions. So I've surrounded myself with a core group of people that are really, really strong. They help me through life.
Absolutely. So in terms of your work ethic, did you cut it down completely, or are you still working?
I did for a while. This past year, I've taken a little more time off and just kind of spent a little more time with my wife, been around with my kids a little bit more, and then realized that I have to be, this business is not going to grow to a point where I can retire unless I get back in front. So recently I've just gotten back in front, gotten back on the job sites, and just pulled a little harder. So I've given myself a time frame. I said, look, inside the next 10 years, I have a 2.5 year goal, and then a 5 year, 7.5, and 10. My goal is to reach it in 5, but if I got to go to 10, I've given myself the runway to do it, right? So that's kind of what I've done. But yes, I've had to change to certain things. If I feel myself getting too stressed out, it's a weird thing because it's like I get a little like aftershock or something. I get a feeling like, oh, no, I need to pump the brakes a little bit, right? Yeah. And not allow this to affect me as much as it would have, right? And that's where that core group of people comes in, right?
So in terms of balance, let's say for like a young entrepreneur who wants to start something, whatever industry it might be, right? You know, for me, work ethic is really important, and you know, I go all in. Is it important to go all in those scenarios, or do you think there's a balance in terms of work, life?
Oh man, this is not going to be a popular answer.
Well, it's your opinion, yeah.
There's no such thing as balance, my dude.
I agree.
None. I have 5 amazing kids, and I have missed 90% of their lives, right? And I hate it, but I've also made the decision that if I'm going to do that, then anything that they want to accomplish, I'm going to make sure that they have the opportunity to. Now, when they become young adults and they want to go and do certain things and they don't want to listen to daddy, the consequences are consequences. I can't save them from everything. There's evil in this world that I can't be around all the time.
Yeah.
Right? But I've made a cognitive decision to make sure that if I'm going to miss as much as I miss, then it's going to be worth it. Right? And I think a lot of young entrepreneurs that don't have children or don't have a wife don't understand that, and that's fine because you have the ability. If you're single and running a business, I know a young fella has a great business, man. He probably takes home $500,000 a year. He's young, man, blowing and going, buying Lamborghinis and doing all this other crazy stuff, and that's great. Except for the fact that, like, at the end of the week, he's so dog tired because he worked all day Tuesday, then went out Tuesday night, and then he worked all day Wednesday, and then had dinner Wednesday night with this person, that person, this person. There, you know, he's going to burn himself out. And I tried to tell him that, but he's going to learn it, right? But when you have children and when you have people that are special in your life, you do have to be there, right? So that when I'm home, right? When I'm spending time with my kids, I'm spending time with my kids. Now, sometimes I get pulled away with a phone call or whatever. But we make time throughout the year, and my favorite time of the year is the last week. Right, Christmas through New Year's. Because every year for the last 5-6 years, we've taken family vacation, right? Nice. So that is, I get my kids and my wife for that week, and I am there, right? I don't care who calls, I don't care what's going on. If it's a life or death emergency, I'll answer. But if you're calling me about a tree, there's an office number, call the office number. I don't exist for that week, right? And my goal is to take that week and turn it into 2, and turn it into 4, and then turn it into, whatever. So, but yes, I mean, balance is what people preach. You have a work-life balance and all this other stuff. No, if you want to be successful, there is no balance. You either put it all in or you don't get to have it all.
I agree 100%. I was kind of, you were mentioning the younger guy that was kind of work hard, play hard. I was kind of in that scenario too, maybe like 2 years ago, 1 year, a little over a year ago. And I was going out. I mean, when you're young, and you're single.
Yeah, man, have fun.
I was having fun with too much fun. So I had to catch myself, I was drinking a lot, was doing drugs, and I kind of needed a wake-up call to where, sometimes you get sidetracked. I think the devil really pulls you away sometimes from the overall goal. Yeah. And, I know what I'm doing is, we're doing some amazing stuff, but it was one of those where I had a couple mentors that I had to talk to on the phone to really, kind of ground me. They're like, dude, this, and that. And I got closer to God again, which was amazing. I think being a young entrepreneur, sometimes it's easily to get diverted.
Yeah.
So if someone is young and they're kind of in that scenario where, you know, they're making money, sometimes young people are stupid with money, what would you tell them?
Sometimes.
Most of the time.
Look, man, I'm 40 years old. I turned 40 in August last year. I still buy stupid stuff, right? I'm still a big kid. Right? The only difference between men and boys is the price of their toys. Everybody's heard that saying, right? You know, so, you know, rejoice, young man, in thy youth is in the Bible, right? Enjoy it, because let me tell you, when we get older, right, everything starts clicking and hurting, and like you don't move as fast. I don't bounce like I used to. You know what I mean? So I used to be able to go out and go to the gym and never warm up. Like just go sit down, bench 225, and immediately go from 225 to 405 without even thinking. Now I put the bar on, and then I put a 25, right? I warm up. But I've learned that by doing that, I feel better afterwards than hurting myself possibly, right? So no, man, look, if you're a young guy, young woman, you got a business and y'all are absolutely killing it, enjoy it, because there's going to be a point in your life where you can't. Not that you can't enjoy it, but you won't be able to bounce back as fast, or you have other priorities in life that you need to do. But here's what I got my oldest boy is 22, my second oldest boy is 21, and or 20, about to be 21. And I tell him, look, man, like 20s, everybody says party in your 20s and work in your 30s. No, man, screw that. Work your ass off in your 20s. You can sleep less, you can work harder, retain more knowledge, you can do more in less time. And then in your 30s, you take that money and everything you've stacked up and you start investing and being smart about it, right? Then by the time you're 40 like me, you're not behind the ball, you're way in front of it, right? That party lifestyle is fun, man. You did it, I did it. Everybody I know has done it, right? And it's a good time it's good to go and relax and let everything go. But there's also a responsibility that you have to yourself. Everybody's heard Grant Cardone, man. You have the responsibility to be great, right? You have a responsibility to yourself to be successful. And if you fail yourself, that's on you. You know what I mean? So I've had many opportunities in life, and I've failed a lot, right? But I get up and I stand up and I just put the pads back on and I keep banging until I find a crease. And then I might get a 5-yard gain and I might get a 4-yard loss in next play. But I keep getting up and I keep banging it, just keep banging at it until I hit a touchdown.
Where does your work ethic come from? Like that mentality to you get pulled down, you fail, get back up, keep running, keep moving forward.
I mean, you could break it down to a lot of things, man. God is one thing in my life that I have struggled with. The reality of him, whether he's real or not, and all that. I've questioned all that stuff, and every time I question it, he shows me exactly that he's real, right? I shouldn't be alive in many other cases, right? But my work ethic, it's not, everybody wants to say it's genetic or whatever. I've heard a lot of people say that, should I say. But it's one of those things that it's a learned art, and it is an art, right? If you can make yourself do the things that you don't want to do on a daily basis without losing enthusiasm, right? That's a rough translation. Winston Churchill said that. Then you've created something in your body, right, that pushes you past the point of failure, right? When we're in the gym and we're working out, we do something called negatives, right? If I'm benching, I'll bench, and then when I can't go no more, my partner picks that weight up and I fight it down until when he picks it up, it just slams back down on me and we put it up, right? So when we do negatives like that, I'm pushing my muscles past failure to let it know that, hey, you're not in control, I am, right? And Eric Wynn, and he's an Army guy, and he'll understand this statement, is it's mind over matter, right? If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if you're cold. If you don't mind that you're cold, you can still work. If you're hot, if you're tired, if you're whatever, hungry, it doesn't matter. If you don't mind and you know what you got to do, then just keep going. It doesn't matter.
Did you get this concept and philosophy kind of embedded as a kid, or was this something that you kind of learned on later
So,
on?
As a child, my grandfather was a sugarcane farmer, and he worked for Mallard oil tools, something like that, for the longest time. But before that, he was an officer in the Navy. He flew Corsairs in the Pacific. That was my mom's dad. My grandfather on my dad's side was D-Day +2. He was an all tanker. He drove tankers before there was power steering. If you ever see one of these trucks, the wheels are about that big, and he was your size. Like he was a little bit taller than you. And they got a picture of him on the beach at Normandy standing next to his truck, and he is just shredded, man. But he volunteered to go in. He wasn't supposed to get in D-Day +7. He volunteered because they needed more people. So he went in D-Day +2 and went and did all this stuff, came back and got his truck and then started going, right? So I think it's built into me that we have a great work ethic in our family. I've got an amazing family, both sides. But, you know, it's kind of one of those things where you can still lose it, you know?
Do you think it's something that you have to keep kind of on a day-to-day basis, keep programming yourself? You
have to get up every morning and go to bed every night with the mindset. And man, I think I heard it with that new Cat Williams interview when Shannon Sharp interviewed him.
Oh yeah.
Right. He said if you make a decision to live every day like it's your last day, right? When you really make that decision and it's a real decision and you're gonna focus on that, like this, I'm going to bed. That's it. I'm done. You know, so I'm not gonna get tomorrow. Did you do everything you could that day? I still fall short a lot.
That's a really interesting concept. I think you can live through that analogy to a certain degree, but it's really tough to really live it as if it was your last day.
Yeah, no, if it was your last day, what would you do?
Not be here.
Yeah, right? No, I'm not going to work.
I'm
right?
with my family or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna soak up every second with the people that I love.
Yeah, absolutely.
None of this matters. Like the Rolexes and the fancy cars and the jets and all that stuff, guys. It breaks down to nothing, right? Go see how many jets are sitting down not being used, right? How many Lamborghinis are got totaled or just repoed or whatever it is. None of that shit matters, right? What matters is what you do on this earth and the people that you love while you're doing it. That's my opinion. Everybody might have a different opinion. I like stuff too. I love shiny things, right? I love guns and I love hunting and I love going fast on motorcycles and I love airplanes. I love all that shiny stuff, but all of it doesn't add up to a hill of beans if you don't leave a mark on this world that's a good mark. And I think that's one thing that our country has gotten away from, this American dream, right? We can talk about that, the meaning of that, in great detail, because I love conspiracy theories and so on, but people have gotten away from it, man. Right? People think that stuff is what this life is about, right? We don't give Christmas presents at our house. We don't. I don't buy anybody a Christmas present because every day is Christmas. If they need something, they earn it, they get it. My boys wanted 4-wheelers. I told them, it's cool, I'm the bank. You're gonna write a promissory note, I'm gonna buy you your 4-wheelers, you're gonna pay them off. They take care of the pond and they do all that other stuff. I instill a work ethic in them that they will earn everything that they have. But you know, my wife and I got married in 2017, 2018, we spent like $15,000 on Christmas for the kids. I mean, there was toys and boxes stacked up as high as the tree. And then 4 or 5 months later, we go to clean out the closet, we move in the house, and I'm like, man, this one's still in the package. That one's still in the package. Like, what? We wasted all this money, and it's not the kids' fault. They get something new, they play with it, yada, yada. They just didn't understand. So we sat down and said, you know what? Instead of doing all that bullshit, how about we just take a family vacation, end of the year. And in June, me and my wife sit down and we say, okay, I have 5 kids. We pick 5 places. We give them a list in August and they say, okay, here's your list. And they squabble and vote on where we go, right? Now, I have 4 boys and then a little girl.
Yeah.
She's the tiebreaker, right?
Yeah.
The boys will say this, that, and the other, and then she's the tiebreaker. Now, mind you, I've been to Disney World now since 2017, like 4 times. But we've done places like they wanted to go to New York. They wanted to go to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So instead of the last week, went that. Gatlinburg, and they wanted to go to Vegas. They voted to go to Vegas. They can't do anything. So what did we do? I asked them, so what are we going to do in Vegas? Y'all are all kids. Oh, well, Daddy, we can rent these cars and drive the Valley of Fire, right? They wanted to rent Lamborghinis and go ride all that stuff. And they wanted to see the Eiffel Tower in Vegas, and they wanted to just go experience some of the shows. And that's what we did, whatever they want to do. So we break it down like that, and then our Christmas present to them, but we go somewhere cold. Of course, we buy coats or whatever. But whatever they earn throughout the year and they save, I match. So my little girl is like, she's gonna be some little businesswoman, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Because my boys will walk up and they're like, hey, Daddy, I saved $300 or I saved $500. So I match that, and that's what they spend on the toys and the trinkets or whatever. My little girl walks up a couple of years ago, had like $1,300 in coins. Like, where did you find all these quarters at, right? So, but I matched it because that's the deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they take us out to dinner. I don't ask them to. Like the boys will pool all their money and they take me and mama out to dinner sometimes. You know, I'm proud of all of them. I'm very proud of all of them.
That's beautiful. In terms of Tree Guardian, what's the overall vision 10 years from now? Is it something you want to pass down to your kids, or is it something you want to franchise? Or
I think every person wants to pass down, every dad that has a son, right? Especially, and I use this term a lot, in a testosterone-filled business, you want your son to take the reins and make it bigger than what you could.
Yeah.
Right? I forget the quote, right? Your father's the only man that ever wants you to be greater than he ever was. Something like that. I want my sons to take everything that I've learned and compound on it till it's much greater than I could ever reach. Now, is that a reality? My oldest two boys, one of them's going to college right now for finance law. The other one just graduated with an engineering degree. He works for me. He enjoys what he does. I don't know. I've offered it to him and said, listen, I won't push to sell this thing unless if you want this. If you want this, I will teach you how to run the whole thing from the bottom up. And then when the time comes, it's yours. You buy me out, it's yours. So we've had those conversations. I would love that, but if not, you know, I'm always willing to sell. Everything's got a price, man.
Yeah.
You know, so for the right price, and you tell me I can go hunting more, yeah, I'm out.
So in terms of, I guess we touched base a little bit about doing the right thing and how, you know, I had a conversation with Eric too the other day on how, you know, when it comes to going up the ladder, right? You know, some people will stab you in the back to get on top, but you're only there for a short-term amount of time. Whereas if you do the right thing, right, and you work with integrity, you know, respect, manners, it goes a long way. It really does. A lot of people have asked me before, Steven, how do you do this and this and that? I'm true to my word, my character. People that know who I am as a person know my values and morals. You know, am I perfect? Of course, I'm not perfect, but every day I strive to be the best version I can. And then having said that, I think it automates to where people respect you. And then that's what takes it to the next level in terms of business. How important is it to do the right thing in business to really take you to the next level, especially in the industry that we're in, which is kind of crooked here and there sometimes?
Oh man, look, I remember, and I think every business owner can agree or relate to this. I remember my amazing clients and I remember my horrible clients. Everyone else in between is a blur. We have thousands of jobs. I've done, probably 10,000 plus jobs. And you know, I remember some amazing people and I remember some horrible people. Same in business dealings, right? If I work with a company, this company might be one of the best companies out there. But if he's a dirtbag, I'm gonna remember that he's a dirtbag. But if he's a great guy, whether he's acting or not, I'm gonna remember that, right? To me, like I said earlier, my word, if I don't have my word, I don't have anything, right? If I tell you that the sky's purple and it's blue, but I believe that it's purple, right? I might be wrong, but I'm gonna die on that sword believing that it's purple because that's just who I am, right? Now, there's a reality that mixes into all of that as well, but doing the right thing is imperative, right? I do believe in a little bit of karma, and I believe in the universe comes back at you. And there's some guys, that guy that took advantage of me, he's going to prison here pretty soon, right? So it's going to catch up to you, right? Everything done in darkness will soon be put to light, right?
So that's in the Bible too, I think.
That's right. So, and I'm not a Bible, I read it, I'm not the best at it, so I might have misquoted some stuff. But the general gist of it is, right?
Something like that.
If you hide something, if you steal from somebody, trust me, it's going to come back around. I believe that heavily. I got a thing in Fort Worth, Texas right now where somebody owes me a tremendous amount of money, and well, it's coming back around to bite them, buddy, because we won. Right? We got our judgment, and I'm going up and get my money, or I'm taking the land, one of the two. But when it comes to that kind of stuff, and you know it, right? When it comes to that kind of stuff, doing the right thing is imperative, right? If you want to be in business for any length of time, right? If you're coming in and you're in and out in 5 years and you want to screw over a bunch of people and then disappear to somewhere where nobody ever sees you, we know a guy like that too, right? Right? I wish I could start just dropping names, man. It's going to happen. I'm going to call you. When my lawyers say, Jake, hey, the collar's off, bro, I got a list of stuff that people owe here, that, and the other, and all this dirty business, right? We can have a lot of fun.
It's a whole different podcast.
Yeah, a whole different podcast. But no, doing the right thing is imperative, right? Because as a business owner, you affect, remember, my hands, my words, and my feet affect more people than just me. And I live by that. And it helps me remember that the little old lady that couldn't afford to take the tree off her house in the hurricane is getting taken advantage of by the insurance company, and I do it for free. Or I'll do it and I'll tell her, hey, look, you sign this, I'm gonna go and collect. If they don't pay me, well, okay, we're good, right? I try and help out as much as I can. Hurricane Ian, we did a little over $250,000 in just pro bono work. Pretty much every hurricane for the last, since, oh God, Hurricane Michael, we've done at least 100,000 in just free work. People that can't, people that actually deserve it, which is the hard part, because some people just don't want to pay, right? I made the mistake in Hurricane Delta putting out an email blast, like, if you know anybody that needs help or free tree work, please let me know. Man, I bet you we got 1,000 emails the first day. Yeah. And it's just people that don't want to pay for it.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah, take advantage of kindness. So after that, we put some checks and balances in place, and we try and help out, cancer patients and veterans that are just down on their luck. You know what I mean? We offer free help and get people to the right people, right lawyers if they're getting taken advantage of by their insurance company, because you know this, 99% of homeowners have no clue. Most homeowners like, here's your insurance policy, and they read nothing. You know what I mean? And I was that guy too before I started dealing with insurance companies.
So, and if anyone that's watching and you would kind of give them a message, like a last message in terms of life, family, personal stuff, business, what would you kind of sum up, something that you really want them to know you as?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Thank you.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Okay, well, there's two things. My favorite verse is Psalms 23, right? Everybody knows that verse. Lord is my shepherd. And I can quote the whole thing word by word.
Quote it. Just paraphrase it.
Well, you got me on point here, but yeah. So
some people don't know the verse.
I'd have to pull it out. You see, you got me nervous up here. But no, I mean, Psalms 23 is something the Lord is my shepherd, right? And the next verse is, I shall not want, right? Everybody, I fight a lot in life because I want certain things, and I have to realize that it might not be God's timing for me, right? I want this or I want that, and I just keep banging in the walls. And after the heart attack, it's one of those things where it's like, when I hit a wall one time, okay, well, maybe I need to hit harder. I'll hit it really hard the next time. If I don't break through it that time, I go, okay, God, I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna go this way. When you're ready for me to have this, then I'll have it, right? One thing is that I just was blessed enough to purchase a ranch in Tennessee. That has been an absolute lifelong dream of mine. And I've tried to buy, like, we've put offers in on 30 different places before I met my wife, right? I've put offers in land from 30 acres to 15,000 acres. And it just never fit. Something always went wrong every single time. And this last one, it was so smooth. And when I went out there with my family, I realized, like, this is what he was saving for me. Yep. Right? And I got such a great deal on it. It doesn't exist anywhere else in the country. It's got everything that I want. It's got, I own the mineral rights and the timber rights, which is rare, right? It was just one of those things where God's like, hey, look, like,
this is what
I was saving all this stuff for you. I stopped you from doing all this because this is where you needed to be, right? So I do believe that in my deepest part of me that God is still guiding me down this road. And I guess the other thing is I have a little Latin phrase that says non ducor duco. It says I am not led, I lead. So a good buddy of mine, Caleb Morse, owns a place called Rustic Renegade in Lafayette, and he has something that he says I'm that guy. So in other words, like if we're walking around and somebody pulls a gun in the mall, everybody's running the other way, well, I'm going to run towards it. I'm that guy. You know what I mean? If you need help, somebody's got to be that guy. The car that's stuck in the median, I'm not just going to pass by. I'm going to grab my strap and I'm going to pull him out. Right? Somebody's got to be that person. So, I learned that from him, years ago, saying, look, I'm just going to be that guy. If somebody needs help, I'm going to be that guy. Right? And it might be somebody that doesn't deserve it in the long run, but at that moment they deserve it or they need it. It's not for me to judge. if God puts me in that position. I picked up a hitchhiker the other day. Just
I mean, yeah,
rolling down the world. Look,
they wouldn't do it.
Look, bro, like if somebody jumps in my truck and wants to play around, I promise you there's more weapons in that thing rolling around than anybody else needs to have. But I picked up a guy the other day, and I only brought him, I want to say, where'd I bring him from? Henderson. He was walking on the Chaffalite Basin Bridge. Yeah. And I just, I saw him. He was carrying a trash bag. I stopped. He runs up. He throws the bag in the truck. I said, where you going, man? He said, well, I said, I'm going to Baton Rouge. He goes, well, if you can bring me there. He said, I'm going to Florida. I said, well, look, I'll bring you to, I brought him to the pilot by, oh my God. Anyway, in Denham Springs, right there by Bass Pro.
We don't recommend it just anyone.
No. Especially it's a strange world these days. Yeah, it is. But something told me to pick him up, and come to find out, he was part of the 509th, which is what I was in, right in the military. He had just got out, young kid, just got out, has no family, no money, no nothing, right? And military guys, when most military guys, and Eric can tell you this, the transition out is just absolute crap, right? It's gotten much better since a long time ago in Vietnam. When the guys came back from Vietnam, they were hated, but my uncles and all them. But so anyway, we talked to him and offered him a job. He goes, well, no, he said, I'm going down to Florida because I got a job opportunity working on one of the cruise ships. He just, nobody wanted to bring him. So I bought him a bus ticket. I said, dude, instead of walking, let's go to the bus, right? So I bought him a bus ticket, and last I've heard of him. But hopefully I helped him out enough to where he can, have a good life. He got there on time and he didn't miss anything. And,
beautiful, brother. Oh man, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. And look, you're doing an absolute wonderful job with this. I followed you, man.
Thank you.
I met you when you were just going party too much.
Now we're making something. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, God is good.
Amen.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for staying in for this episode. See you guys on the next one. Boom. Yeah, bro. Killed it, bro.